Good morning from Okinawa, Japan of OkiSubies. Today we're going to be installing this CAE Shifter on Daryl's 2016 VAB. Stay tuned. If you remember from our last video, we did the brake upgrade on Daryl's car. He's in again. This time we're doing it at our shop versus his shop, but we're now putting in this CAE Shifter. So this CAE Shifter, we've actually installed it in a couple cars. Jeremy's Type RA STI with the 2.1 liter stroker, and we also have put it in the Forester that's yet hit the road. So this one is specifically designed to run inside the VAB. You're actually able to utilize the interior trim minus the boot. Haven't figured anything out about the boot, but you can't really run a boot with this setup. But yeah, so we'll be installing this in the car. We'll do a step-by-step on like removing the interior, show you how to do that if you own a VAB, and then get underneath the car, pull everything apart. One thing though that I need to stress, since we've installed this twice now, is that all these boots or rubber hoses or whatever, even the zip ties that are on the shifter, do not cut them off until after the final installation and everything's in place. Then you'll cut them off. It just helps with setting up the shifter. All right, so inside the car, a few things we need to do to get the interior apart and ready to remove the old shifter and to receive the new one. Is we have to take off the shift knob and this interior trim piece. To do that, you're going to pop off the side boot for the e-brake. You have a screw right here. Then inside of the actual cubby, you have two more screws right here. You'll remove all that, and this whole center console piece will slide back, and then you can pop off this trim piece. You remove the shift knob, and then the boot will slide over all these little notches and you get the whole thing off. I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. When removing the trim piece, you got to remember the screws are there for sure to hold it down permanently, but there's like these areas where clips go. All you do is pull back on it. So you got the clips right there, all those white tabs, those are clips that slide into these little slots. You pull back on the shifter or pull back on the interior trim piece you're trying to remove. After removing the screws, it'll pop right out. Same for this piece here, the center console. You just slid right into these clips. You pull up on it, pops it out, you slide it back. And then we also have this piece off. And this is actually the piece we're going to be trimming. So we'll remove the boot, and then we actually have to trim right here in this area for the actual CAE shifter to sit in there. But next up is to remove all of the insulation for around the shifter. Once removed, we won't unbolt it here, but we'll take and unscrew these 12mm bolts, get that metal plate out of the way, and then we'll go underneath and we'll do I'll show you what we're going to do underneath. But yeah, let's get this removed and then we'll go underneath. With the car in the air, we'll have to remove the skid plate there. There's also like a heat shield above the exhaust, the downpipe there. It's got to come off. So we'll do some prep work just to remove all that and then show you what it looks like from the bottom. Okay, so with the heat shields out of the way, this is what we're aiming for. So you got the shifter linkage here. It's a 14mm bolt here, reverse lock out here, and then up at the very top is the other part of the linkage right there. So it's also a 14, and that we'll be removing. And then everything, the new stuff will bolt into it. There's also two 12mm right there that have to come off, and then the whole linkage will come out from the top. Do your best. It can be pretty tight, but you can get it. You can do it. All right, I got everything laid out here in front of us. I forgot to mention that you do have to drive the pin. There's that pin, that double sleeved pin. You have to drive it out and get it off of the transmission. the new one is going to be bolted in, so you don't have to worry about actually driving another pin. It'll actually be bolted in. Maybe use some Loctite when installing it. But here's the next step. So the next step is to take the boot off of this old setup, and then they have these little caps here. This will plug the one for the e-brake, the reverse cable. This one will plug the hole for the actual ball that goes there. And then we'll install it on this portion here using some silicone spray and maybe some heat just to stretch it. And then I'll catch up with you after that's done. Pressing forward, we got this all disassembled, and we had the plugs that came with the kit. They came with zip ties too. And yeah, you just put them inside of the rubber, zip tie it in, and they're pretty secure. No issues there. So next up is to slide this pole through this one hole here, and it's got the same little setup just like the stock deal had. So one thing that we noticed with this new kit is that on the other two kits, it didn't have this bracket, it didn't have this either. This goes inside the car. It's pretty self-explanatory. But this adapter here, I don't want to install the adapter if I don't have to. Once this goes in, and you'll see when you install it yourself, once this goes in, it's not a pain, but you want it to be final. You don't want to be pushing it in and out, because it'll scratch the paint off of it and stuff, handling it. If you handle it too much. So I want to try and install it and be one and done. So I contacted Drew over at Penguin Garage. So this is who we got this shifter from, Penguin Garage. And we contacted Drew over there and waiting for a reply just to see if this adapter is necessary. If he doesn't reply in the next couple of seconds, I'm gonna go ahead and press forward. But for the remaining part of the kit, it's just to install this through the boot. This will go to the transmission either with the adapter or without, and then I'll run that inside the car, put the shifter on top of it. This portion here is really important. It's machined to slide perfectly inside this hole, and it actually has a lock bolt that goes through there, and it locks it in place. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this on the transmission. Alright, so I didn't receive a message back from Drew, so what I did was just temporarily put a bolt right there to hold the linkage to the transmission, and then temporarily installed the shifter in the car, just temporarily. And then yeah, you can see it's too short, right? So it doesn't reach all the way. So this adapter, it looks like it'll be perfect. It'll extend it out that much, put it exactly where it needs to go. So I'll remove the rod again. I'll install this on the shifter. It's got torque specs on it and everything, which is pretty cool. 18 foot-pounds of torque for this bolt here, and yeah, we'll put it all back in. This should be the final install. All right, so the adapter is installed. Everything's Loctited and torqued to specs. Last thing we're going to do underneath the car before we move to the top and put all the heat shields back on is the reverse lockout. So in the kit, it comes with this little machine piece that one goes into the actual arm of the reverse lever, and the other one goes into a little hole in the transmission, which is crazy that's even there. Really, really cool. You see me moving it? That's the lever. So one will go in the hole here, and the other one on the transmission right here. There's the hole. I'll show you a final product. I can't do it with one hand. The bottom of the car is squared away. We got it back down on the ground. Everything else will be done inside the car. So the shifter is just sitting there loosely. I have this shaft slid in, and so I'm going to be now putting in the lock bolt that'll lock this to the shifter. It is right here. So it looks like this. You can actually safety wire it too. They included some safety wire in the kit. The kit's really good. This little shaft will slide all the way through the shifter, come out the other side right there. It threads on one side, and then it has the place to put some safety wire. Also comes with the torque specs again. Really awesome. There's also the bracket. So on the metal one that was in the car, it comes with it's already made into the bracket, right? But all this gets eliminated when you put the shifter in. So it comes with the piece that the center console will actually screw down to. All right, the most dreaded part of this whole deal is going to be trimming that piece, but I've seen some pictures. It doesn't look too bad. It's just a shifter. It's what you gotta do. You gotta sacrifice some plastic to install the metal. Okay, so it does look like the shifter's installed, and it is, I guess, technically. But in the instructions where it had the trimming done on the back, we didn't trim enough. And so now, when you put it back in any of the rear gears in second or fourth, it hits that piece. So we need, and believe us, it was pretty difficult to get this all in at one time. You have to actually take out the bolts that are right here, remove those bolts to install the shifter and the center console piece all at one time, and then you have to put the bolts back in while the center console is here. And as you can see, there's not a lot of room to get to the back one, let alone the front one. So in any case, we got the compressor running. We're going to try and trim this out while it's in the car. We have a couple files too, just to make them smooth and look decent while it's in the car. Would hate to have to remove it all again. But in any case, almost there. All right, so this is the final install, guys. So everything went pretty smooth. There's the final notch on the back. Try to make it look decent with a file. Took a permanent marker to the places that got cut to kind of blend it in so it doesn't look too crazy. In the instructions, they had cut a lot out of the front too, but it just didn't look good, right? So we were able to keep everything looking pretty good and just cut off a few tabs in the inside there. So everything on the outside looks pretty good. You can't run the boot, but that's all right. There's quite a bit in the instructions for tuning the shifter using these little Allen keys right here on both sides. So this one's reverse, the front one. This is 5th and 6th, and this is 1st and 2nd. And there's quite a few instructions. So we'll also include a link to the instructions so that you can follow them yourself too. Maybe use the video as just a dry run or whatever, or just for clarification after reading the instructions. In either case, see you for the next one. Peace.